In the vast landscapes of the Chaco region, a unique creature moves with deliberate grace, the Tolypeutes Tricinctus, commonly known as the Brazilian three-banded armadillo. Join us on an expedition into the world of these rolling guardians, unraveling its evolutionary history, ecological significance, and the challenges it confronts. The peculiar southern three-banded armadillo is the only species able to fully enclose itself in a protective shell of armor. As ancient mammals with origins tracing back to South America's isolation, Xenarthran armadillos showcase a fascinating evolutionary history now threatened by human encroachment. Specialized for rooting through dry soils for insect prey, the three-banded armadillo serves important roles channeling nutrients and aerating soils across arid landscapes. While rated currently as a species of least concern by the IUCN, habitat fragmentation may impact future resilience across its Andean and Patagonian range spanning Argentina, Bolivia, Paraguay, and Chile. Evolutionary history. All living armadillos trace origins back to extinct lineages that first evolved in isolation when South America split from former supercontinent Gondwana over 100 million years ago in the Cretaceous era. These Xenarthra mammals later diversified extensively in South America during the Tertiary period in the absence of placental competitors. Fossils of early armadillos date near 50 million years ago after the dinosaur mass extinction. The oldest armadillo ancestors likely resembled small sloths that transitioned over time into varied armored forms including giant glyptodonts. The Dasypodidae family encompassing all living armadillos is believed to have a single common ancestor originating around 35 million years ago. From here, Tolypeutinae split off into a subfamily lineage specialized with the ability to roll into a rigid protective ball when threatened. The genus Tolypeutes then emerged roughly 5 million years ago, giving rise to the three modern species of three-banded armadillos distinguishable through subtle anatomical and geographic differences. Fossil evidence suggests multiple waves of armadillo species migrated from South America northwards into Central America then Mexico over the past 5 million years as land bridges formed. The three-banded armadillo lineage likely expanded its range up into Mexico and southern North America during the Great American Interchange following formation of the Isthmus of Panama 3 million years ago. Humans likely first encountered these bizarre balls of armor after arriving in the New World over 10,000 years ago. Three-banded armadillos are medium-sized xenarthrans with an average length of 40 cms and weight near 3 kilograms. As the name denotes, their flexible carapace is comprised of three movable bands joining across the shoulders, allowing the ability to roll snugly when threatened instead of fleeing or fighting. Bony plates called scuts or osteoderms form movable bands covering shoulders, pelvis and rump while allowing for thermoregulation. Softer leathery skin attaches these bands across jointed areas. Scuts contain bone cells that remodel and strengthen throughout life. Blood vessels in the shell also help moderate body temperature against extreme external heat or cold. A bony cephalic shield of scuts covers the forehead and tapers back across the crown. Short bristly hairs emerge between scuts along neck and sides. Thick hind legs and long curved claws suit extensive digging habits while forefeet are broadened for shoveling soil backward swiftly. A cone-shaped head allows easy plowing underground headfirst, protected by closing eyes and ears with folds of skin. The shell, limbs and head altogether form a tank-like body build allowing survival in arid, rugged habitats. Countershading coloration helps camouflage against sandy or rocky backgrounds. Darker scuts contrast softer pinkish skin between bands. Shell texture also assists by scattering light irregularly. When rolled in a ball, the shell disguises outlines and vulnerable areas effectively. Males average slightly larger than females but with no major size differences between sexes. Ecology. The habitat range of the southern three-banded armadillo spans from dry forests to scrubland deserts east throughout central Argentina into Paraguay, southwestern Brazil, and northern Chile. They occupy an assortment of arid environments including savanna grasslands, thorny brush plains of the Gran Chaco, open woodlands, Andean slopes and scrub deserts of Patagonia. Throughout these habitats they endure extreme highs near 120 degrees Fahrenheit 50 degrees Celsius and overnight lows into mid-20 degrees south, -4 degrees Celsius. But their key habitat requirements revolve around deep, dry soils facilitating easy excavation of burrows and access to underground insect larvae. Three-banded armadillos thrive best in undisturbed natural areas away from extensive agriculture or development. But they tolerate some habitat modifications like ranching provided suitable soils. However, modern conversion of grasslands into soybean farms and urbanization increasingly fragments and degrades the connectivity of viable populations. Without adequate alternatives when displaced by plowing and construction disturbances, some relocate into marginal zones or disappear altogether. Three-banded armadillos act as ecosystem engineers via their burrowing and rooting habits that mix and aerate soils. One individual alone mixes over 2.5 tons of soil annually. These soil and nutrient alterations determine locations of vegetation and other wildlife that ultimately depend on thriving armadillos churning subterranean conditions. Their insectivore diet regulates soil arthropod populations that could inflate unnaturally without these predators continually turning over soils and preying on larvae of flies, beetles, ants and termites during year-round foraging. Habitat and behavior. The behavioral rhythms of three-banded armadillos revolve around overnight digging and foraging, then resting within burrows during hot daylight hours. Energetic digging abilities allow exploitation of insects and larvae buried actively deeper underground than most predators can access. Their behavioral patterns align with cooler temperatures, facilitating movement and feeding. Burrows comprise essential refuges dug beneath bushes within a home range, providing escape from temperature extremes plus concealment from predators. Individuals maintain up to 12 burrow sites across a 20-hectare range, routinely used seasonally when rotating between various foraging areas nearby. Often multiple generations reuse and expand old burrows over decades. Frequently shifting between feeding sites and burrows allows beneficial reuse of abandoned sections by other wildlife like owls, foxes, or viscacha. Nightly activity begins soon after sunset, with emergence from burrows to root through soils with nostrils closed and ears sealed against loose debris. Foreclaws tear open new patches to penetrate deeper layers before shoveling backwards forcefully with forepaws. Their armored heads also assist plowing further while slurping up exposed insect treats. Useful olfactory senses likely help detect subterranean aromas of larvae. After actively overturning 1 to 2 tons of earth nightly, armadillos retreat again into burrows before dawn, resting through hotter daylight periods while metabolizing food and replenishing energy stores. While mostly solitary foragers, three-banded armadillos interact mainly to mate or when female-led families assemble. The April-May breeding season elicits aggressive confrontations between same-sex rivals competing for mating privileges across shared territorial ranges. After 120-day delayed gestation, single young are born within protected burrows during November-January. Mothers often utilize babysitting assistance from older female relatives while diligently nursing pups the first 3 to 4 months until mature enough to emerge above ground. Young stay closely associated before dispersing nearer 1 year old. When threatened suddenly, all armadillos reflexively leap upwards, then pull head, limbs, and tail into their closing shell as clamshell bands rapidly rotate shut, sealing vulnerable areas temporarily. Only armored fronts and rumps remain exposed as they transform into immobile balls until assessing threats have passed before unrolling and proceeding onward. This unique defense tactic differs from risky fleeing or fighting back common across mammals. Conclusion. The peculiar three-banded armadillo provides endless intrigue as a mammal unlike any other roaming South America's arid landscapes. Yet concerning trends see protected lands increasingly isolated by advancing development as humans compete for space, water resources and agricultural lands. While adaptable and not threatened overall presently, habitat fragmentation escalating across Argentina, Chile and Paraguay may cause future population declines and genetic risks without habitat connectivity. Classified as a species of least concern by the IUCN Red List currently, experts recommend continued monitoring given extensive ecosystem roles performed by these armored excavators as influential keystone species. Their well-being signifies healthy habitat vital for thousands of other dryland plants and animals. Sustainable grasslands, responsible mining protocols and maintained wildlife corridors all ensure viable spaces remain, securing future generations of endemic armadillos and associated species unique only to South America, yet diminishing faster each year without conservation interventions ensuring equilibrium amidst so much change underway.